It's way too much damage. Stop him with the block! He fell charged him!
Oh, and he found
wow.
Wow.
Oh, what? He gets out!
Somewhere there's a covert muffin just applauding this scene.
Holy crap.
Oh man, this is gonna come down to execution in the final escape, isn't it?
Sure is.
Every scene
Our
does.
favorite phrase.
Hey now, it's Ori Rando. Get your game on, go play. Hey now, cut those trees down, turn in those map stones, find the water vein, and all that sense does is troll. Blah ha 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 ha, Shafe and Muffin come. Yes, indeed.
Oh
Ori Randomizer for the Blind Forest, Evo, rank 12 to do rank 5. This is going to be an exciting match. My name is Shafe, joined by Covert Muffin on commentary. Had a chance to talk to Evo before the match. He's pretty stoked to be this far in the tournament. Definitely nervous on top of that because now there's a little bit more pressure he feels to put on a good show. Is concerned about getting Rando or being Mr. Spaghetti, but does feel that Spaghetti shouldn't hit quite as hard since there's more matches to play. We are in the best of 3 now in this tournament. He's been gone for a week. He hasn't had much practice, just got back in on Monday. So his D-Rust was basically this morning, and we'll have to see how he plays from there. But knowing Evo, he's going to be pretty good. And also, like, because Evo and I were pretty similarly, like, in terms of execution and routing and all that stuff, and he was watching my race versus Dedew, which is how Dedew got here. And he feels kind of like a little bit more confident knowing that he can keep up with Dedew in that comparison between myself and Evo. So he is still concerned about Spaghetti, but also a little bit more confident as well. So it'll be interesting to see how that dynamic plays out. Muffin, what did Dedew have to say?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting that you bring up the last match, especially against you. Dedew, since then, has been really working to try and optimize his routing, especially for a best of 3 scenario. Like, I imagine that we may see some differences in Dedew's strategies from the first game leading into the second one. Because this is a best of 3, we are guaranteed to have at least 2 seeds to be played between these 2 runners. So sort of putting that into a scope of things, Dedew's been thinking a lot about that. I've been really impressed as well with Dedew's sort of approach to the tournament in general. Has been practicing a lot and consistently as well, right? Like, these tournaments can last for months, and it's very, very difficult to continue that like 20 to 40 hours per week of just digging into rando content. So Dedew's feeling pretty confident in this matchup. He thinks Evo is a really, really competent, very strong randomizer runner. So if Dedew ends up getting knocked out of the tournament today, because we are in a lower bracket match, he is going to be walking away with all smiles. But he, of course, would prefer to just win the entire tournament as well.
Yeah, of course. Worth noting, we'll give the runners about 1 minute, by the way, to get ready, give them a 1 minute warning. But worth noting, because this is best of 3, we are playing 2 of the matches today, and if a third is necessary, it will be played on the weekend. Speaking of the weekend, Cleanfell and J-Mall are going to be playing their entire series on Saturday, starting at noon Eastern, 11 Pacific, and they'll just be running through until they are done. Muffin's going to be on commentary as well with Zemsis for the first match. I'm going to be doing the second and third match, if necessary, for the third with Turtle and 2Kill. We'll be on SpeedGaming 3. It's going to be a rockin' old time. And make sure that you stay tuned for match 2, because we are playing, again, 2 matches out of this best of 3 series today, back-to-back, and Cleanfell and Zemsis will be bringing you match number 2.
Yeah, indeed. And some other stats from our runners. Both of the runners have speedrun this game. They've done all skills. And Evo, we see all cells also coming on the board. And both runners are primarily a keyboard and mouse runners. Really interesting note is that Dedew actually swapped to keyboard and mouse from controller like a few years ago. And so not having played rando consistently is still sort of working out some of those differences with certain trick setups. So Dedew actually will potentially be playing hybrid today and swapping back to the controller for some specific tricks in general, just because he finds them easier to do on controller. So we'll end up seeing if any of that ends up coming up.
I like on the list there for Ori categories for Dedew, by the way, it just says yes.
Yes.
Awesome. Evo also very familiar with the map, not just from a rando perspective, but execution-wise from All Cells, a category that is longer and goes to a bunch of the different areas. So both of these runners very, very familiar with the game and the map and et cetera, and different ways to go throughout the entire thing. We are getting a wall jump start here, which is all right, and we'll see whether or not they get 2 keystones to go into Glades immediately, or whether or not Blackroot will be forced. Do anticipate Dedew will probably collect XP here, just to prep for a save anywhere to head straight into Blackroot.
Yeah, I really want to draw the eyes to the right, which is Dedew's runner screen, where he's going to actually stop for this Rhino experience. This has the potential to save 1.5 seconds. We see Evo on the left also making this decision. This was actually... Oh no! Actually, a thing that Dedew actually popularized, especially in the 2018 tournament, to do this. This does save potentially 1.5 seconds to do this EXP route. But we also found Forlorn Teleporter under Sign, and that's a pickup you never want to have to use because there's no skill location in there. But it's definitely going to be a huge relief for our runners because they know that they can't end up getting randoed if like Gumon Seal is buried somewhere terrible and they need that for some other dungeon key.
Yeah, and we are seeing Dedew drop straight down into Blackroot. Evo is going to be making the Glades play. We'll see whether or not there's a couple things here. Dedew obviously collecting that little bit of extra experience from the slime as well in order to be able to max out for that level up. So the pickup on the left side of your screen is the Sunstone for Evo. Obviously, Dedew's going to be getting that in short order when he goes to Glades to progress towards his wall jump tree. So Evo's going to be forced to go into Blackroot as well, but does get wind restored, which is kind of a little bit of a knowledge advantage, perhaps, particularly if a teleporter pops up here in the early going.
Yeah, the health cell from the fake flippers is going to be a nice thing taking into the mid game. Dedew will be able to keep this if they remember to swim out of it on the time that they end up going to Glades. But just going into Blackroot, it's pretty nice because there are actually 3 damage spikes we see underneath Dedew. So tiny little slip up if our runners are feeling a bit nervous could just be that extra bit of safety that Evo could utilize. But Dedew on the right going to be the first to make the progress, having saved that 1.5 seconds, if not more, over their opponent because Evo ended up getting the Rhino experience. Just finds 35 experience for the first pickup, so we still don't know what the next bit of potential progression our runners will come across as they progress through Blackroot.
Yeah, there's only about 4 pickups left in Logic here in Blackroot. In all likelihood, we're probably going to end up seeing Keystones, but with that wind restored and the Forlorn Teleporter, it does open up some other possibilities. Could be an early Gumon Seal here in Blackroot that is going to force a very early Forlorn play. Could see Glide and a Swamp TP perhaps for right side access that way, so we'll just have to kind of wait for a little moment in this auto-scroller section as Evo completes his Orb Room in Blackroot. Dedew's carrying this lantern up to light up these platforms, as you can see, so they gain collision and he can walk on top of them. They're going to be setting up for a cutscene stack here. Just want to talk about Save Anywhere in case you're just joining us here in the late stages of the tournament. It's a trick where we trick the ability menu into thinking that we have closed it when we in fact have not. That allows us to gain control of Ori behind the ability menu, and then when we level up something on the skill tree, the game saves, and that allows us to do a bunch of shenanigans, primarily skip cutscenes, which is what you're going to see here in Blackroot at least twice.
Yeah, just really the core essence of Save Anywhere as a glitch is that you just cross a trigger and save the game, and that allows us to do really cool things with it. So over on the right, we're going to see that ability menu come up from Dedew, only finding an attack upgrade in that pickup. So there is the tree itself, there is the pickup in the fall, and then there's the pickup right before Boulder Escape in that Raziel No area, down below left in Logic. So 3 more checks to go, but we are also going to be checking one that isn't in Logic, which is this Mapstone over here. This is one of the few pickups that is hard gated by the skill Dash, and it is 26 experience, Shafe. So this is an important bit of information for our runners as they head to the rest of the early game and potential bit of that mid-game progression for maybe checking some additional things to try and find Dash.
Yeah, the way the experience is put into the randomizer is basically lower values will be placed earlier and higher values will be placed later, but it is a range, so that could be like 26 experience out of a possible, say, 300, meaning that Dash is fairly late, but it being a lower experience value does sort of tend towards there being an early Dash. We won't know for sure, though, until later on. Dedew is not going to the Indiana Jones Boulder Escape area, by the way. He is going to be heading into Glades here. Pay attention on the right side of your screen. Will not be able to do fake flippers, actually, because he took damage on the way here. It's down to 2 health. Okay, he's going to actually double back and collect that health there in order to be able to drop down and check what it is. Will be able to swim out with that 4 health if he reacts fast enough and doesn't get eaten by the fish. It's close, He does get out. Okay, very nicely done to dodge the attack from the fish there and get out with that health. Pretty impressive mechanical maneuvering there from Dedew, as Evo is actually doubling back here to head down into the boulder escape. We have seen numerous times in this tournament, logic or not, something has been locked behind this boulder and has given runners a significant advantage. So we'll see if it pays off for Evo, but in the meantime, we'll keep our eyes on the right side with Dedew, who's got the more dense area of pickups to check.
Yeah, this is great from Dedew. I also want to sort of note that attack upgrade coming in that Glades area was really, really nice, especially coming through to the 3rd and 4th pickups that we saw Evo get before going into Blackroot, right? Having that attack upgrade means 2 attacks to be able to break through bramble walls is just very, very fast. And then also having Magnet, right? Like, a lot of people don't really think about the extra, like, 20 to 30 experience that you end up just getting from doing this without having to slow down. And so very nice slight little early game advantages, trying to make use of every single resource he can to be able to take that edge. So far on the right, Dedew not quite finding much besides some additional EXP and resources, but is going to be the first to head down to Wall Jump Tree, sort of sticking with their overall game strategy that they were talking about ahead of time, where taking the seed to be a little bit more aggressive and push the objective. Because, of course, if Dedew is able to get to the objectives before the opponent, then they will potentially be able to just get to the end of the seed faster and get to the clues necessary to be able to track down those dungeon keys.
I just want to point out a small execution thing Dedew did there in the wall jump loop. With that extra bit of health, he actually damage boosted through the spinning spike mace thing, which deals 2 damage, and then took another damage off of the bramble. So utilizing that extra little bit of health to move a bit faster. Gets bash here at the wall jump tree. Evo's going to actually lose a little bit of time here because he did opt to save scum the keystone in the Blackroot main room, and went to the Raziel No hoping to get an out of logic keystone. Was only rewarded with experience, however, so he actually had to double back and go and get that keystone. So Evo, a fair decent bit behind here, actually, because of that. Had to spend an extra, 30 or so seconds double dipping down into Blackroot. Did see an energy cell as well for our runners here. 2 energy, very nice. A little bit of safety saving, if you will. Always makes things a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, this is exactly what Dedew is hoping for. Like, finding that first and most powerful skill in the entire randomizer, Bash, is going to give him a nice, clean transition to go immediately to their next skill location, which is going to be Double Jump Tree, to be able to get access to that first clue. This is going to be an out-of-logic sequence from Dedew as they find 3 energy, so they could also just glitch out the energy door to go in. But literally the fastest way to get to Double Jump Tree is actually through Boulder Escape, if you are just going through to check the pickups anyway. But Evo, if they end up wanting to do this same sequence break that we might see out of Dedew on the right, they are going to have to use the teleporter, which is going to lose about 20 seconds of routing over their opponent. But it'll be interesting to see on the right. Yes, Dedew is using the Frankie. Oh no, the Frankie falls in between the peg. It's very tight. Yeah, with the first jump being missed to get back up, I don't think the Frankie can get back up on the peg.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, Dedew's going to have to just sort of go over, save the game, and quit to menu in order to reset the Frankie spot. But how long is Evo going to spend trying to get the Frankie up? Not too long, as they head up to the teleporter to quit to menu after resaving the game to save just a small bit of time.
Yeah, that was about 20 seconds or so that Dedew spent trying to get that Frankie lure back up onto the peg. Has not reloaded. Oh yeah, they did reload because they did the rekindle skip there. So they're going to go for this again, but that actually is pretty good for Evo, that the Frankie kind of just misbehaved there for Dedew. Caught up that time that Evo spent going to the Blackroot ability cell to collect that only second keystone that was there on the right side here in the early going to be able to get access to Glades. Does get Bash. Will he drop down into Blackroot is the question. No, okay, he's going to be going into Spirit Caverns. I like this from Evo. He sees the 3 energy that he's got in Logic, anticipating a fourth to come up, allowing him to go through Death Gauntlet and get the Grotto TP. So nice, interesting divergence in routing here from both runners. Dedew taking the sequence break and Evo kind of being a little bit more linear in terms of following the logic. I like both plays.
Yeah, this is really, really potentially bad or good for Dedew that this could actually end up working out. Wow, Dedew actually quitting to menu, opting to not actually end up keeping the Grotto TB that they ended up finding. This is very... No, they're going to go back for it. I like this decision because you could do the energy glitch on the door to be able to go through Death Gauntlet to get to the right side of the map properly, or like double bash the spider shot up, but both of those options are much, much significantly slower. And on the right, Dedew coming down for the map stone, but they were mentioning this in the pre-run interview that they know that Evo tends to not go for the mini boss, and Dedew, this is definitely a play from doing his homework on his opponent, is saying, if my opponent's not going to do Grotto mini boss, this is a pickup that comes early in logic, and if my opponent skips it, I check it, it's something important, this would be a huge edge in power play. But Evo on the left is going to be the first to get to Sea Flame Tree Shave. These decisions from the runner are just so massive in this early game segment.
Swamp TP for Dedew, kind of a nice find. Likely not to be necessary. We'll see. Right now, the runners don't actually have a way to get up to Swamp out of Grotto, so that actually could be required on Dedew's end of things. But worth noting, in the meantime, Evo going to Spirit Caverns, if Dedew doesn't do that, Evo's going to have a mapstone advantage. There was a mapstone in Spirit Caverns, so if progression, like, say, the Water Vein, is on mapstones and Dedew doesn't end up going there, I could easily swing the other way, and that's kind of one of the really interesting things about getting a power skill like Bash in the early going, is that there's just so many different things that you can do with it that, you know, whether or not you follow logic, sometimes the sequence break will pay off, sometimes following logic will pay off, and it makes for a really, really interesting watch to see who ends up making the quote-unquote good play versus, like, the correct plays.
Right.
Which is something that Grimelios talks about a lot, right? Like, the correct play is doing the thing that is most likely to give you logical progression, but the good play is the one that succeeds, you know? And it's 4 energy for Evo, yeah, so he's gonna be able to get through Death Gauntlet here.
Okay, so this is actually pretty massive for Dedew information-wise as well. Finding both Swamp and Grotto TP on the right side means that there is something important in Spirit Caverns or on the way to Charge Flame Tree. And indeed, it looks like logical progression is going to be Clean Water down here. No, Clean Water must be somewhere because they got the 4th health cell from the swim itself. So maybe it's got to be Glazer? There's got to be something at Glazer, I guess. That has something important still. So it's going to be interesting to see if Evo sort of like picks up on this notion that something important, whether it's blue breakage or clean water, is going to be very, very massive for the potential late game implications of the siege.
Yeah, Glazer could just be that logical 4th health too, right? Like, and
yeah,
so
that too. Yeah.
Evo's just kind of making a little bit of a read on the seed here, going, all right, well, this isn't in logic because the 4th health was out of logic, but I don't care because I'm probably going to get logical progression anyway. Glide here in Death Gauntlet, Dedew right on Evo's heels, actually. The only real advantage for Dedew here is the progression towards Double Jump Tree. Worth noting, Dedew did not head over to left side Grotto, so if there's something hiding in the 4 energy vault down there, it could be a pretty decent thing here, depending on how Dedew decides to route this here. Is going to go up top first to check some of these pickups near Gandalf and a lower swamp access.
Yeah, I absolutely love this shape from Dedew. He knows that his next progression, right, his next objective is to go over to Stomp Tree, right? Or, I mean, to backtrack, honestly, through Spider Sack area to get access to Sea Flame Tree, potentially if he finds Blue Breakage or Stomp or something else. But for Dedew right now, this is exactly what he's been working on the past few days for trying to continue to route in the next direct objective. And so being the first to be able to get to the Stomp Tree is going to get him those early checks. Evo, meanwhile, on the left, is going to actually be able to come over here and check this Water Vein pickup, which I believe Dedew skipped. And so if Evo does find something important over here, this could be very, very massive for Evo.
So, Muffin, the first clue that Evo got at the Sea Flame Tree was Gumon Seal and Blackroot. There's the Water Vein, actually. French vanilla Water Vein for Evo there. That's where the water vane on the screen right now usually is, and it was just off to the right. So Evo, while he doesn't have vertical access to get up into a tree right now, just having both dungeon keys in his pocket is absolutely massive. All Evo needs to look for now is just skills to be able to get to the left side, and skills to be able to do the final escape. And so he's going to be a little bit thorough here in Grotto by the looks, placing a save. Yeah, he is going to go and check this Grotto Vault area behind the Fort Energy door. Dedew, in the meantime, getting trolled by the Wizard Frog twice as the shot phases through the floor. Third shot does connect and double bashes it up. That one almost phased through as well. Holy crap, Ringo being a jerk. And it's grenade! Evo for grenade on the left side at the ability cell. That's bash nade, absolutely massive. Evo can do basically anything he wants now in the game, including going to Horu, going to left side via a sequence break. Clean water for Dedew on the right. This scene's just opening up.
Yeah, this is absolutely massive for Evo. This is the advantage that Evo needed over his opponent to be able to sort of stay in tow. Checking things that are away from trees is great if they pay off, and they are certainly paying off for Evo, right? This is like pretty much just looking for skill go mode. The only thing that Evo needs before he can actually end up finishing out the final escape is either... Oh, and double jump as well. My goodness. This is absolutely crazy, but Evo either needs resources to be able to finish the final escape, but also needs one additional skill, right? Because they can't break the walls, they can't break the floors to be able to get through those first few sections of the final escape. But meanwhile, Dedew on the right, showing off a slick double bash chain, is going to be able to be the first to come over here to Stomp Tree, and there are two nice sort of information gated pickups here. Of course, we have bash, so this first one isn't too much of a tell, but we'll see if he ends up trying to check the C-jump gated pickup to the right.
I'm kind of anticipating here, like maybe Stomp is next, and then Gumon Seal is accessible, because like Clean Water there at the Triforce ability cell does end up putting like Lost Grove in logic with Stomp and Grenade. So everything down there, and then it would put the Gumon Seal in logic because they would be able to get it with that skill set, and then something could be in Forlorn, right? We could be potentially in for a long seed, depending on how long like that final escape skill necessity is for these runners. In the meantime, it is going to be a tree advantage for Dedew. Does have double jump and stomp over top of his opponent. Evo's just making his way to double jump tree now.
Yeah, and this is brutal for Dedew. We're going to see the play to clearly come over to be able to do some Glade revisit checks. He's going to do the long fake flippers check now, which is in logic, and of course Evo could not be able to check this without the Clean Water as well. Does find a mapstone. Our runners have been pretty starved on mapstones so far in the seed. Only two between the two of them both. Right now for turn-ins, as well as in their pockets in their inventories. But Dedew also going to have bash for this check coming through. Does check this root pickup. I don't believe it was anything. Yeah, just an ability cell, and is going to head into Spirit Caverns next.
Yeah, he will have the mapstone advantage on that front because there is another one here in Spirit Cavern, so that'll bring him up to 3. Evo still on 2. Evo does get the double jump tree, and after this altar, it'll be really interesting to see how he decides to play this, because this is a skill set that you can be extremely aggressive with. Do basically everything that you need to do in the game besides finish the final escape, so I would not be at all surprised after like the first few checks here. Near starts, the Frankie Walk, Billy's Stash here, maybe even damage boosting down to Glade's Grenade Pool. I would be surprised if he wasn't pushing trees and going into, following Dedew's trail into the Swamp Tree there.
Yeah, heads up play from Dedew, recognizing that he doesn't need to spend the 2 keystones to be able to get access to Spirit Caverns itself. Instead, going up through the Glazer area is going to be skipping Glazer for the meantime, but this is actually going to get him enough keystones to be able to get up to Sea Flame Tree. And as we know, there wasn't anything crucial like an important skill like Blue Breakage or something like that, but that is going to allow them to sort of further cement that. But on the left, Evo is going to be making an excellent play, luring this Frankie over. Yeah, gets him up first try up onto that ledge. I cannot stress how incredibly precise and difficult that is to do it, but bringing the Frankie over, the spikes on the ceiling there can take him down. Does a double bash to be able to get the Frankie safe through, and now just has to survive some potential damage from a slime and the Frankie itself as it breaks this floor.
Yeah, that was incredibly impressive by Evo, recognizing the Franki's hit points, the amount of times that he bashed Marvin there to be able to get him over the top, and that lure, just a like textbook lure that Evo performed there. Dedew's going to lose a little bit of time here, actually, on the right side of your screen. Didn't have energy to place a save, and ergo do a save anywhere to skip this teleporter cutscene. Plus side, he now has this teleporter, so he can get to the left side a little bit faster if he doesn't find the Valley TP, but does lose a little bit of that time as a consequence for it. Mega energy here for Evo. We'll see whether or not he checks this grenade lock pickup as well with that Gumancio clue for being in black route. Nope, decides I'm just going to ignore it. I'm going to skip this cutscene. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start pushing trees. Oh, he almost did the muffin play. He was thinking of... Okay, he is actually. He is bashnating over top of the slow zone to check this. I like this because he's already got the save into the cutscene, and so if it's nothing, he can just backload and head left.
Yeah, Evo also to know has been putting things into the purple tree, and this is actually a really nice play from them because that is going to get them further to an ability at the very end of the purple tree known as Sense. And so we know we need one more skill to be able to finish out the seed, and so in order to help them track down that skill, having Sense is basically sort of a hot-cold indicator on the character itself when you get close to a pickup to tell you if it's important or not. But meanwhile, Dedew on the right, this is such a crucial moment for them. Where are they going to go to next? They're heading to Blackroot Burrows in order to potentially go down to Light Grenade Tree as well, right? They have Bash, so they know that this is within their capabilities. But, oh, Dedew going up top to turn in the map zone, and then we'll see where they go from there.
Left side Evo is backtracking here through Death Gauntlet. Not terribly sure if there was anything that he missed there. He did have the Mega Energy, could have opened up the Death Gauntlet swim door. Did not opt to do so, and that's fine. He's going to do a couple more checks here in the Teeth Corridor, the Dental Cabinet, if you will. Bashing off the spider to check this. I kind of like this from Evo in terms of resources, also, of course, needing that skill for the final escape. Does have 5 HP, which is nice, and if he takes the top route into Swamp Entry, as Dedew did, he will also find his clean water. So as far as damage goes, he will be completely fine. And that actually is pretty important, just kind of backtracking a little bit on what you were talking about, Muffin, with Evo pushing for Sense. If he gets clean water, he's not really going to be too concerned about triple jump or ultra defense at that point, particularly with Glide for Sorrow. So all he really needs is information on where that go mode skill is. So he doesn't know it quite yet, but this is actually going to pay off for him pretty well here if he goes to Swamp Entry. It looks like he's going to go into Grove Main first, possibly do Outer Swamp Loop or go into Ginzo.
Yeah, so we're going to get some fresh checks on the left from Evo as they're heading into Grove. Meanwhile, on the right, Dedew is actually opting to head down potentially into Lower Blackroot. This is great because this gives us some more information about where things potentially could be. And here on the grenade puzzle, double bashing the frog up to be able to get over those instant death spikes, a quit to menu to be able to backtrack a little bit quicker. We're going to see how much Dedew commits to these checks. And yeah, indeed, now Dedew definitely is in searching mode. They're like, I need a thing, and I do not have a thing. I do not want to go to the left side with only bash and glide. So they are going to be continuing in Blackroot to get some additional information.
Yeah, and looks like Evo is going to be collecting the Swamp Teleporter here as access to the final escape, as well as quick access through Swamp, again, if he so needs. Technical difficulties on Dedew's end. He's had a little bit of problems with Twitch connectivity, so he'll be back shortly, I'm sure. 60 experience here at the Swamp AC, nothing doing. And yeah, it looks like he was going to be heading into Ginzo Tree, which is, the whole lumberjack thing. He's going to cut down a tree in order to be able to get access to a tree so he can get his trees.
Yeah, dude. A little, just a little bit spooky. I mean, he has 3 keystones, so he only needs to find 1 keystone, right, Shave? Or, I mean, worst comes to worst, has to do that key dupe in the goodness awful place. But no one's ever not found a keystone in Ginso on the way to the tree. It's definitely never happened.
Especially not in a tournament setting.
No,
Never. Worth noting, Dedew on his 6th tree did get the clue for the water vein, so he actually does know that the water vein is in Grotto now, which is good news for him because it makes it more likely that he will also pick up a grenade and double jump down in the Grotto Vault, depending on how he sequences his checks. And of course, knowing that he doesn't have a way to actually get up Ginzo tree might end up being a little bit more thorough in Grotto as a consequence of that information. So skill parity hopefully coming up for Dedew's side. In the meantime, still no keystones here for Evo. He's only got 4 pickups left, which is still statistically okay in terms of finding a keystone, but you always get to this point and you start getting a little bit terrified of like, okay, what happens if I don't get a keystone here? Oh, he actually just spammed ability cells too, so if he does need to do a key dupe with a save anywhere there in the triple portal room, he's actually going to have to spend points into the red tree, because he's only got 1 ability point left, so possible consequences for Evo here. Yeah, ability cell and a keystone bailed out on the last check.
Oh man, I cannot tell you how many seeds I've had where there's been like no keystone there, and then you have. So the reason why this is funny is we have a glitch known as key dupe in Ori and the Blind Forest, but you have to place a save that's sufficiently far enough from the door itself for the glitch to work, and the place where you have to place the save is very, very far away. It takes a very long time to walk to that save, and then you have to make it all the way back to the key door, take a death at the key door, and then walk once again all the way back to the key door. So very, very wash of relief there from Evo to not have to make that play.
Interestingly enough, the experience values here in Ginzo have been incredibly low, indicating that it is probably early in logic, so the game likely expected us to head down to lower Grotto Vault, get our grenade and double jump, and then go find the water vein and immediately come back up here. So starting to seem like further progression is actually here in Ginzo Tree, and yet you can see the sense shift on Evo's side, left side of your screen. You went from blue to a bit of a pale orange there, so something is up there in Banana Stand. Extra double jump, very nice, giving him 3 total jumps now. Nice from a little comfort perspective, and as well with a technique known as bash gliding, will allow him to gain some extra speed. And C-Flame, weirdly enough, is go mode for Evo. He can now finish the seed. He has what he needs to break walls, and can head left side with a sequence break through a Frankie lure there. So yeah, Dedue is actually doing the lower Grotto Vault as well, is finding his grenade. Looks like he's going to clear this out and get double jump. So we'll have skill parity, we'll have dungeon key parity, and at that point, it's a matter of going into Ginzo. Ooh, save drop.
Oh, Dedue is not checking the plant. So the plant was where double jump was, so Dedue is not really quite going to have double jump potentially, because if you do a save drop here to go through the laser, yeah, you just back out and miss it. So this could actually be massive for Evo, right? Our runners are tied on trees as of now. Dedue, however, is going to be having to go over to C-Flame. Oh, no. Evo's ahead of tree, right? Can I count? I cannot count.
Math is extremely hard when you are live on stream. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. No, we're good. Yeah, because Dedue got C-Flame tree. Yes, we're good. Okay, so they're tied on trees. Evo is going to be coming over and be the first to make it to Stomp tree in order to take a slight tree advantage. So if Dedue is okay on execution on the left side of the map with just the skill set he has and without having that double jump, then this should be okay for the state of the race for Dedue itself. And Evo not really finding anything from the blue plants that Dedue could not check as they were going through this section. So big wash of relief for Dedue, who cannot actually watch their opponent while they're doing this, of course, but is now going to be making their bid over to Ginzo tree. And we'll see if Dedue continues on to upper Ginzo.
Well, Dedue without double jump isn't like necessarily the biggest thing in the world, but if he does not go up past the bash tree, which, you know, you skip a whole bunch of checks in Grotto and then you double back and you find 3 skills. Well, Dedue found 2 of the things. He found water vein and grenade, but with the 3 skills that were there, like, I can only imagine Dedue feels incredibly behind from that early aggression play, which could just cascade into more aggression, right? Like, when you feel behind, sometimes you just want to play harder, as opposed to being more thorough and trying to find out what it is that you missed. So missing out on C-Flame could actually be pretty big for Dedue if he does not go further up. In the meantime, Evo has got the Stomp tree, now has 7, just has the left side trees left to do. Does not have the Grove teleporter, I don't believe. Yes, he does, actually. I thought he skipped that. Okay, so he's going to teleport to Grove, and he's going to break into left side by luring a Frankie to stomp the peg. And yeah, but judging by Evo's play, particularly clean water and 6 health, both dungeon keys, he is checking a few things that are on the way, but I anticipate it's not going to be like anything that's super out of the way. Ooh, changing color here actually in Valley Entry as well. Interesting. Gets Climb. Okay.
Yeah, ends up finding Climb. This could be really, really massive, right? If like Evo is also able to track down that charge jump pickup on the left side of the map, that gives him grenade jumps for the final escape, and that does save like 38 to 40 seconds-ish. And that's a really, really important thing that could really decide the race. But something else that's actually really critical for the state of the race is Dedew came into Ginso with only 2 keystones. And as we know, there was only 1 keystone in Ginso, so we do have to see this key dupe from Dedew. So walking all the way out and then saving the game using a save anywhere, and then is going to have to do this key dupe glitch.
Yeah, in the meantime, Evo taking this Frankie for a bit of a sojourn, gets him up onto the peg fairly easily, and 1, 2, 3 stomps away, and you are on your way to the left side of the old rando game, and he's going to be pushing on through. So Dedew's setting up for the key dupe here, and yep, he's got it. Okay, he's got his 4 keystones, and it will now just be progressing onward towards the Bash tree. Bash nading from Evo on the left side. Does not have... Oh, he has Wilhelm, actually, so he doesn't need to do Stompless if he doesn't want to. Let's check this underwater pickup. Lots of energy, but no real way to spend it, much to their chagrin. Would absolutely love to have Dash to be able to charge Dash away all that energy. Will you go for the kill plane skip? Thought about going right side and has opted not to. He is going to set up for a kill plane skip here. So Kuro is meant to swoop down and kill you immediately as you cross this kill plane, but turns out if you bash into it, you have iframes and Kuro can't kill you. The downside of this is that you cannot actually save the game until you get up, break the rocks, and then have the game save itself automatically when you pick up Feather and then reload the game. But Evo knows that, and I'm sure he will not do as other runners have done and you know, forget to do that and then go into Misty and not be able to save the game. Surely would never happen.
This is going to be nice for Evo because it's going to get him some different checks. This actually is wild because it doesn't save any time over just doing either Fast Stompless or coming over and using Wilhelm normally to break the rocks, which is pretty wild. So just getting that additional check on Kuro Perch going up is kind of a nice thing just in case there was an important thing there. As we saw, it was a keystone, which is really good because Evo, being on 0 keystones, would hesitate going into Sorrow because there is that 4-key door that is blocking Evo from being able to get access to the tree. And Dedew, on the right, did make the correct play to continue into Upper Ginso and finds his Charge Flame, which is going to spell go mode. So Evo, definitely in a clear lead right now, has the same right side trees, but has that additional glide tree. But Evo, on the left, is actually going to be doing some digs in this valley area.
Yeah, so he was changing color when he was doing Valley Entry, and he wanted to see what was down here. It's Fax, which he does not have an easy way to break. So he's just backloading and going to be heading straight into Misty. I like this play from Evo, as you alluded to there. Only on the 1 keystone, there are some mandatory pickups that you need to collect in Misty in order to be able to progress. Sense is triggering on this Stomp locked pickup here behind this log as well. He does want to check it, is going to lure this frog to see what it is. But yeah, some mandatory pickups here in Misty does mean that, you know, he's going to basically hope to get at least 1 more keystone, so he only has to key dupe once. And it's on the Gumon seal, of course, something's on the Gumon seal, so Evo's not going to be going and getting that anytime soon. But yeah, glide, double jump, bash, nade, this is a very easy Misty here for Evo. In the meantime, we actually see Dedew going back to Glazer. I don't believe Dedew has sense, so kind of maybe chasing logic a little bit here instead of just pushing left side.
Yeah, I think that is exactly what this is. As we were saying earlier in the seed, there had to be something here. It was a keystone, so Dedew's done on keystones. That's really interesting. I have no idea what progression to right side was supposed to be, but that's totally fine. That is not important right now, as Evo is coming through Misty, is checking all these additional pickups with sense to see if that they can find that 1 additional skill that is going to give them an edge going into the final stretch of the game. But meanwhile, Dedew also coming up, making the soul redefined climb up above, is now going to be taking down some birds with grenades and attacks to take them down. And I think he did get a save down in time, so the Frankie is not going to die from the level up. Yeah, we're good, we're good. and so is now going to be doing this Fronkulor to stomp the peg as we saw, but Evo on the left ends up finding Dash as they were going through Spikefall, is going to just make Sorrow especially just so much faster, being able to use those rocket jumps in order to get up, and as well to be able to break that ceiling in order to get to charge jump tree. This is a massive find for Evo, and if Dedew misses this is just going to further Evo's lead as they're coming into the very final stretches of the seed.
Yeah, that is an extreme amount of mass weighed in kilograms for Evo. Finding Dash is going to just massively speed up the rest of the seed. Also make the final escape a lot more comfortable in terms of like just muscle memory, because you're used to doing the final escape with charge dash and all bash and dash and all the fun things in all cells. So you can just basically charge dash to your heart's content and finish out that thing real quick. So this is like 100% now just muscle memory execution for Evo, particularly with Wind Restored making this easy. Doesn't have to worry about Sorrow Bash, which is not an easy trick to say the least. Still on the one keystone, however, is going to have to key dupe at least twice, but at this point very much in the driver's seat. Only has the one tree left to go, has all the skills that he needs, has both dungeon keys, both world events even. So this is a really cushy for Evo. If he does get a keystone here, and he does, he's only going to have to key dupe once. So down to, yeah, okay, probably just saving up for the quick 2 keystone in the door, and then stabby stab, respawn, and get your extra keystone on your way through, and that will be the last tree for Evo, and the only thing between him and victory is going to be the final escape.
Yeah, so here on the right, we're going to see if Dedew opts to go through Sorrow first or is going to decide to go to Misty. Great job remembering to grab that teleporter. That can actually honestly be something difficult to sort of compartmentalize
right?
and remember, especially in a race setting. But Dedew is indeed going to decide to do Sorrow first, so we're going to have to see some additional double bash chains coming from Dedew that we did not have to see from Evo, because Evo had dash going into Sorrow. But meanwhile, on the left, 10 trees up, 10 trees down. Evo is ready to head back to Thornfelt Swamp and head to the left as they progress to Horu Fields, and there's only one escape sequence that is going to be stopping Evo from taking the first win in this best of 3 matchup versus their opponent.
I think Dedew was kind of hoping he would just magically acquire charge jump there. Climbed onto the wall and was like holding it going, oh, I have to do this double bash chain, don't I? Please, game, give me charge jump. But yeah, he's going to do this. This is an extremely tight window to get this projectile past that platform, because if it hits the platform, it despawns. And he gets it first try. Very nice, very clean, very quick double bashes from Dedew as well. Did still lose time compared to Evo having that dash and being able to do the rocket jump stuff, but like that's as close as you can get in terms of execution to be able to keep that up. So very well done from Dedew. Has the 5 keystones, does take the intentional damage on the way to the door to set up for the ghost door, places the save. There it is, walks on through. Kobe! First try.
Hey, nice.
3-point shot from downtown. And he will get his second to last tree. Still has to go through Misty Woods as well. Door warp or violence on Evo's side.
Looks like door warping, nailing that first try. Excellent job from Evo, is now going to be heading into the final escape. Like, this is it, and Evo's just been looking like his execution has been so solid, with a little bit of a hiccup there, heading up to activate the final escape itself. Meanwhile, Dedew on the right is going to be heading into Misty Woods, but Evo on the left, action is going to be on them as they start the final escape.
I think I actually saw Evo change color just a little bit as he was door warping. So there might be logical progression in Horu of all things. Maybe like Stomp or Charge Jump or something.
Oh, no.
Anyway, in the meantime, he is in the Lantern Room. Charge Dash is way too far. It takes a little bit of a death. That is not good for your race nerves, but it is fine as far as we know. Of course, Evo doesn't know. He's got a pretty comfortable lead here. Charge dashing through the floor has a unearthly amount of energy. What is that? 11? 12? Yeah, 11 energy. So you can just charge dash through everything, even without charge dash efficiency. And so now he just got to drop down through. Has clean water here, so he can bash off the fish and get his fish strats. Taking Jeremy for a bit of a ride? No, actually. A little bit of race nerves probably there, forgetting about doing the fish strats. So he's just going to float up here and then bash nade We'll lose him just a little bit of time. Probably doesn't feel too good in the moment, but he's okay. And the final bash and dash, he is through. GG to Evo, taking a 1-0 lead in this best-of-3 series.
That's right, folks, and this is not the final cast for today. And in fact, after both of our runners end up finishing here, we will end up taking a 10-minute break and then proceed immediately into the second game of the series. So meanwhile...
I just wanted to mention as a housekeeping note, the health cell to get right side through Death Gauntlet was actually on Frankie Walk.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Thank you. That was the pickup I was forgetting. I knew there was one pickup that I was forgetting. And so, yeah, it was indeed 4 health, 4 energy to be able to get through Death Gauntlet to get access to the left side of the map. Meanwhile, Dedew on the right is going to be heading up through Misty. Did not end up tracking down that dash pickup. Very, very reasonable in this situation, right? Because he knows that every single pickup extraneous that he ends up checking is going to lose him time versus his opponent potentially. And very low probability that there could be a skill there as well, because it's on the left side of the map. So Dedew, now with his 10 trees up, 10 trees down, is going to be heading back over to start approaching the final escape. But Evo on the left has a 10-second nice little saunter with Naru, is not going to optimize their route, which is a good decision because hopping ends up losing some time, and finishing with an official race time of 40:37. Evo goes up 1 game in the series of a best-of-3 match versus LostDedew.
Yeah, so GG to Evo. That was a very well-played race. Dedew just kind of... playing a little bit aggressively kind of cost him a little bit. Was a little bit late on to that grenade down in the Grotto Vault, but otherwise, like, a very evenly matched race as we expected from both of these runners. This is only going to be a couple minutes difference between them. So just want to go and tell you that the Forlorn Key rather, was Lost Grove.
So all the way in the very bottom of that Lost Grove area in Blackroot Burrows, right? It's just that's perfect. That's just beautiful. I love it.
It's great. So Dedew's in Horror Fields, does not have double jump, will need to double bash over top of the lava here. Does that very nicely. Also does know that Evo has finished, but is just going to close out this scene since he's pretty close to doing so. So he just needs to get to the Mount Horu door here, and then open things up and decide whether or not he wants to pursue murder or door warp. We'll find out momentarily. Also just want to bring you up to date in case you were joining us a little bit late here. The next match that we have, besides the one that's immediately following this, because we are playing 2 games, is going to be Sirius versus Trite Knight on Saturday at noon on SpeedGaming 3. We're going to be entirely on SpeedGaming 3 actually for the whole day. And that will be followed by the entire series of Clean Fell versus J Mall. Language is hard, let me tell you.
Yeah, speaking in language is very, very particularly hard. Meanwhile, here we see Dedew in the final escape, as Shafe was alluding to earlier. Evo with that dash and double jump pickups that Dedew does not have. That made the final escape a bit easier. So without those resources, those tools at Dedew's disposal, this is going to be quite a bit more challenging final escape. But being the skill player that Dedew is, I'm sure he will go through it easy peasy, lemon for breezy. So here, coming over into the lantern room itself, is going to be using the bash grenade to be able to get a significant amount of height. Here on this lantern has to bash straight up using the glide, beating out the lava plume. Then falling down here with that charge flame, only on 6 health, does not want to take a damage boost in the lava. Very nicely done, being able to bait that shot from the elemental low enough so that it did not despawn on hitting the wall. And so now coming through this final section, just has to get past these fishes here. So no revenge of the fish for either of our runners, and not having dash, of course, no rocket jump. So as long as he's very, very nice and slow, getting up past, skipping that Kuro cutscene, using climb on that wall to be able to get his faster bash grenade, it's going to allow Dedew to bash up those final falling Sigma rocks and finish out this seed. So not taking a win in this game 1, but don't worry, we have guaranteed at least 1 more seed between our 2 runners facing off against each other, with the potential for game 3 if Dedew is able to take a win next round.
Yeah, that's going to be at approximately a 4-minute and 23-second-ish difference between the runners, which, like, without dash is, like, an incredibly close performance from Dedew's end, missing Dash and Misty. Like, that saved Evo, like, probably close to a minute on Dedew just in the final little bits there. So, like, again, I want to laud Dedew for how well he performed that seed, in spite of, like, the late access to grenade, missing out on double jump, missing out on dash. To be this close just, like, shows the former champion level contender that he is, and the capacity he has to potentially pursue this thing and run the whole table. Wanted to ask you, Muffin, on that front, though.
Yeah, let's do it.
If you're in this position as Dedew, you're playing 2 races, you've lost the first one. Just with the way that it played out, what do you think you would be doing if you were in Dedew's shoes to play the second seed? Would you be more aggressive? Would you be more thorough? How would you handle it?
You know, I love this overall idea of strategy for Dedew here, where playing the first seed aggressive, right, had that tree advantage for at least half of the seed, if not slightly longer, right? It was really Evo picking up that grenade pickup, which gave him the edge. So getting to those trees early and then having the potential to find those things in the game one would have been Dedew's lead for the rest of the race as well. And so playing that aggressive to be able to skip those pickups, get to the trees was great for game one. But for game two, I love the idea of Dedew sitting back down, reflecting on his information that he knows about Evo, the pickups that he likes to check, the pickups he likes to skips, and then maybe sort of staying a little bit more in line with Evo's thinking, right? Dedew knows he's put in the work and the practice, and so if he can allow his execution and his mechanics to give him a slight edge over Evo, that I think could be his best chance of winning for game two.
And speaking on Evo's side, we know that he was kind of on a little bit of a vacation there, only just got back
Right.
on Monday, and has only had this morning to de-rust. Hasn't really had the opportunity as well to study Dedew in the way that Dedew has studied him. What do you think Evo's approach might or should be heading into game two to try and get a stranglehold on this series and get a win, move on?
Man, I'm getting just nerd chills thinking about this stuff, right? Like, Evo's been on a break and he just busted out like a seed with execution like that, right? First try bashing up the Frankie to lure him over to break the floor, leading down to grenade tree, right? Easy time getting access to Valley with Bash in order to do that succinctly, right? Beautiful routing, utilizing that sense in the late game, especially to be able to check some additional pickups and find that dash to save some additional time, like going through Sorrow and Horu, right? Evo's in his element, man. If he just keeps doing what he's doing, I imagine we're going to have a really exciting and potentially close game two, with Evo having a great chance to pull a win and pull a 2-0 for this set.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we're going to give the runners about a 10-minute break or so just to cool off the hands, go get a cup of coffee or some water or whatever it is that they want. And they'll be right back here to play match number 2. Want to thank Infinite and Skull for tracking on this, Fox Diamond for the restream, who's going to be continuing to restream for the second match. We've got Cleanfell and Zemsis coming up on commentary. 2Kill and the person who died will be tracking game number 2. Stay tuned right here on this very Speed Gaming channel for game number 2 between Evo and LostDedew.
Hello and welcome back to the second game of this lower bracket series between Evo and Dedew. Both of our runners got some break time to calm down, freshen up between the games, so we're good to go into round 2 here. For those of you who are just joining us, Evo has just won game 1 with some early throwness, paying major dividends throughout the seed. That means that you will need to win this second match to stay in the tournament, in which case game 3 will be played later on the weekend. My name is Xemlis, and Cleanfro will be joining me for commentary for the second match. Clean, you excited, hungry for more after that first match?
Yeah, that was like really nicely done from both runners. As you said, the only real major difference that caused Evo to pull ahead and get the win in that first game was just better routing choices, particularly in that grotto area, having a lot of, as we call it, there's always something in lower grotto. But this seed might be a little different because we do now have the wall start flag for the second game. So that might, mix some things up and see what we get instead of that wall jump start that we had earlier.
Yes, indeed. WallStuff making some more jettier seeds. More likely, not impossible to see still wall jump or climb early, but it is more likely that this seed is going to be even faster than the last one. We've also had a quick chat with our runners, just a really quick one between the matches. I've been talking to Evo. He is surprisingly still very, very nervous after that first one. The holding right sequence where no one has finished is always a hard racer, and does want to pay more attention to his key sound routing here in the second one. Meanwhile, you talk to Dedew, right?
Yeah, Dedew is actually on the opposite end of that spectrum. He's feeling surprisingly calm and has way less nerves from that first one, kind of getting that out of the way. And now Dedew's kind of in his element. Yeah, he knows what needs to be done. He needs to win two these last two games to take this match, and he's probably going to play the same way he's been playing in the first game. So looking forward to some nice execution from both of them, and we're going to get started here with our second seed in just a few seconds.
Yeah, both of our runners saying they're ready to go. We're just having a bit of a final countdown. So with this actually being wall stuffed and this last seed being very nice, even though it wasn't wall stuffed clean, what do you want to see here in this one?
You could just say charge jump and get your easy win bet out of the way, but let's say a teleporter. Can we have a teleporter? That'd be fun.
I'm with you. Wall stuff just means no wall jump, right? Grotto TP into glide into wind, all that good stuff, that's still on the table, I would say. So let's see if we're gonna get something in that direction for the seed. So far, it's just been a keystone, so our runners now very likely to be able to go into left blades early. It's gonna be interesting to see if any of the two choose to take Rhino XP, with this Rhino XP being a bit of a time advantage if you do a very early black route, but with the keystone being there, Evo decides to skip that. So that's just those tiny things that can accumulate throughout the seed. And our first skill is glide, so let's see where this is going to go.
Glide is indeed no wall interaction. And Glide has allowed for, in tandem with Wind Restored, some really interesting ways around the map. You can see potentially going up to the right of the start XP if we do end up getting that Wind Restored. We do have two more pickups that are potentially we could get here. We already found one keystone, so a second keystone is a potential. But Glide just already right off the bat, it's just so nice. Makes Sorrow a breeze, as well as that air stalling. It just makes the game feel so much nicer in the way you can move throughout the game. It's just so nice.
Yeah, Glide definitely a major comfort skill, especially during those later stages of the seed. Glideless Sorrow can always be incredibly dangerous, especially in a race setting, but it looks like we're getting a second skill already, Charge Flame. Both of these skills not really opening up a bunch of stuff in the early game. Charge Flame just opening a single extra check right here over in the near the Sea Flame area, but we are getting one more. It is in the end a charge jump state, because with wall jump and the Ori 2021 randomizer tournament, what else could we have gotten here?
We are charged up with both the flame and the jumps. Well, we're ready to go, and Another attack upgrade as well. This will be quite interesting, having kind of that different movement. But I mean, Dedew and Evo, they're used to doing multiple seeds back to back to back. So this is kind of nothing for them. Just kind of a quick change in how they might route and just kind of move throughout the game. There's nothing crazy for them. They're going to both opt to do this, lower down this little platform here, and get the above sea flame pickup, known for having always something at the wrong and right times.
But actually, Evo dropping back down already. Also remembering that he still gotta get that plan here as the Dedew is getting up. This is why you need to lower that platform. Can't glide over here with just charge and glide. Otherwise, gets a keystone for his travel. Nothing too major, but might be able to sneak in some nicer Spirit Caverns router in the mid game here if he decides to go Blackroot early, which he does indeed. So we're getting some early divergence here between our two runners. Evo over in Glades, cleaning up the Glades loop, leaving no pickup behind, as the Dedew instead decides to go push into Blackroot with Charge Jump, already allowing him quite fast traversal through this area.
Yeah, it's kind of a similar divergence that they did last seed. Dedew was opting for that Blackroot play as soon as he could get access to it, while Evo is kind of staying in this main Glades area. And I have preferences for both plays at certain specific times. I feel like they're both nice ones to make. They both get a lot of specific fun areas cleaned out, and so we'll just have to wait and see who comes up with the skills at the right time. We do already, since we have Blue Breakage and a massive vertical skill of Charge Jump, pretty much the right side of the map is pretty much already open for us.
Yes, indeed it is. We can go all the way through the Charge Flame area, and maybe that's why Evo decided to leave that above Sea Flame pickup behind. Maybe wants to get it later when actually going right side if he has to go to that. So far, it's just been some resources on the left for Evo, finding a Mega Health as well as an extra energy cell. That Mega Health might come into play into Blackroot. Blackroot is a very scary area. There's a spike pit there that the is already passed, that deals 3 damage, which is exactly as much health as you have at the start of the game. How did you just missing the cycle barely will cost him with that? I think about 5 seconds with how his platform cycle was lining up there, but nothing too major. Still on the way to the tree, and Evo is starting to go Bronchi Walk. Oh, that's interesting. He won't be able to get into Death Gauntlet, but he sure can open it.
This is real nice. We don't have like a teleporter like that yet. Oh wait, Evo might be opting to say that is slow and realized he can't actually get through with no wall interaction. Charge Jump's powerful, but it's not that powerful to scale up walls like that.
Oh yeah, indeed. Probably just realizing, man, I have such a great skill set, but that this is the moment where I go Grotto. But sadly, Grotto will still need the long way around. Did you on the right doing our favorite key sequence break? Getting over these crushers with that one particular pixel that just decides to kill you if you land on it, which did you just got to experience again. But he will be the first person to the dash tree, and there's the Grotto teleporter. So now the right side of the map is actually pretty fast to get to, which also means double jump tree is on the platter for our runners.
That'll be nice, yeah, for both of our runners, just having to take that quick dip and having to skip the kind of slow section of Spider Sack might cause a little bit of nerves for Evo, knowing that Evo skipped the above sea flame pickup and was probably trying to route that into his routing overall. And so now that he knows that, oh, we can just fast travel straight to Grotto, might be thinking, ooh, let's see, do I want to kind of recheck everything, make sure I cleaned up Glades before I really take the deep dive into Grotto, because once you're in Grotto, you can get lost in there. There's so much to do.
Yeah, and this skill set can almost full clear the entire area, so that's always a nice and not so nice thing at the same time when you're trying to track down that next bit of progression. As strong as the skill set is, it sure ain't enough to finish out an entire seed with it. Because funnily enough, we can't even get to the storm tree, even though we could open the door and go all the way over there and raise those keystones. But yeah, you gotta get some additional skills before finishing out the seed, and that could be anywhere on the right side of the map at this point. Now that you can either Alt R or teleport, decides to Alt R here and walk backwards. Could have taken the Blackroot teleporter to go to Grotto right away, but he does not want to do that. Instead, opting to go into the direction of Spirit Caverns. I'm interested to see, do you think this is just gonna be... Oh, never mind, I need to interrupt this because we have seen an amazing thing right there on 3-3.
Whew. Well, if you missed it last game, we're definitely going there this game. We are heading to the Forlorn Ruins to get us our water vein, which has found itself hidden. That is real nice. We have now more things on the runners' heads to say, oh, well, now I need to get Gumon Seal or the teleporter. Just more things to add up on their list of potentially huge progression items that might need to collect throughout this seed. I'll just have to wait and see when we might need those.
Yeah, indeed, and this also opens up the gates for a horrifying timeline where a random Forlorn teleporter find can actually make a lot of a difference depending on how horrible that Gumon's location is. So let's hope the Randomizer won't win in that situation today. But so far, both of our runners really going to the same areas, just in different orders, or even needing to be a bit careful here. That's also kind of risky because this Fronky doesn't respawn and charge jump, dealing 50 damage. Sure will make short work out of any Fronky in this area. Now manages to dodge it, get up to the Blackroot teleporter. Also has an energy left to skip the cutscene, which means he can go there straight away. And let's see, yes, we are gonna see the right side play here from Evo.
Yeah, and what's nice about this is that you can pretty much kind of go potentially a little bit up, kind of above the teleporter, as well as heading in, like, actually fully into the main Gumo hideout. We actually don't really have that much energy, though, so the doors are not really a good shout to potentially head into right now. We might see some more later on. And the funny thing about having no wall interaction is that we can't actually get like Gumo, that Grotto laser area with just charge up. You can't actually get up there like with the Grove main. That connection's kind of locked for us at the moment. So we'll probably see both runners just taking a good bit of time into Grotto before they figure out where they should go next.
Yes, and Evo going for a bit more purple tree already. That is, the map markers, they are not that useful until you wanna kinda check out if you left any one-offs behind over the course of the map, but it does open up the way to do the purple tree play again, which he already did last game. We do know Evo is a person who likes to go sense, and in certain skill situation, any go mode kinda invalidates the requirements you have for health situations, in which case a sense can actually be enough to track down. But oh my god, there's the Gumonsi right here in the water, and from the looks of it, Evo is gonna save scum that and come back later for that. So Evo now does have the knowledge he needs on how to access the Forlorn Ruins. What he doesn't have is the actual key.
Yeah, and oh well, if you're wondering, hey, where's the clean water that puts it in logic? It's right there in the Gumo hideout main. And yeah, that's nice because, like, again, the Gumon seals, we need it, of course, to get to the Forlorn, but it's just nice that it could just sit there right there as we figure out the rest of the seed. And when we need it, yeah, we'll definitely come back to it. A little bit of technical difficulties on Dedew side, but we're back, and I guess both of them are in the main grotto area, and we're back in this kind of grotto vault area, which in the last seed had a lot of potentially big items, and we'll have to see what it wants to give us today. There's a good chance it could have something, but it's just giving us ability cells for now, which are still very nice. Might tune into more of Evo's sense play, as we know. Evo's been kind of pursuing at both games so far.
Yeah, and so far the Dew has been skipping the Gumonsi location. Let's see if he's chat jumping over. No, he will not have the knowledge that the Gumonsi is right there, because well, he couldn't get back out without a save scam, so he didn't go for the check at all. Luckily, we are gonna get the information by simple virtue of the clue system at some point, but it does mean that he might be needing to check things for longer, because Evo on the left here with a micro ledge play, finding climb in the at the energy cell above the grotto mini boss, and then climb find opens up just so much, especially in combination with charge jump.
It's when you already have charge jump, you always say to yourself like, I love climb and not wall jump. It's a rare thing that where two forms of wall interaction, one can just work in tandem so well with another skill. And yeah, that unlocks stomp area with the Thornfelt swap. You get stomp tree, you get to lower Blackroot, get the dash tree. It's just all those right side trees are just so easy for Evo to access. And with the do skill, I can confidently say he'll probably do that micro ledge as well. Get himself that climb. Yeah, he'll going for it just now. It is a very weird one. You kind of have to fall onto it and allow yourself to get on the right ledge to get up there. But he's being determined, and the determination will reward him.
Yes, indeed, and even if he decides the micro ledge isn't something he wants, he could always go by the right side. But the moment I say that, he's obviously gonna get it. Should have caster cursed it sooner for the Dedew's sake, but here we are, climb for both our runners. We are still on skill parity. Now, interesting to see, will Dedew again go for the mini burst play? No, he said his skill set is more than good enough to skip checks like that. Maybe go into areas for trees we haven't done yet in the direction, but speaking of nice things to check, that Death Gauntlet holding the dash at the top of Death Gauntlet, locked behind a wall that you can charge jump through and then get the plan. So with that, the lead is gonna get a lot faster, and I'm just gonna hope that Dedew will get that now, since he's also on 4 energy. He has the option to just go through Death Gauntlet for his Grotto Revisit instead of taking the teleporter once he goes up in the direction of Stormtree, but it's certainly not guaranteed, and Dash will make Ori go fast.
Very, very fast. It's another, with this wall star flag, you know, having more of a potential for jettiness of seeds. It's another situation of a blink, you might miss it, we might be through with this seed before you know it. But again, still what the factor is, we need left side access. That is another huge thing that's gating our runners from continuing on, as well as we do have that Gumon seal, but maybe a forlorn teleporter could also be around here in the logic that either our runners could find to have a massive advantage on going right to that dungeon to get the water vein.
Yes, indeed, and Dedew is in the correct area. Let's hope he does check all the pickups once he kills that Fronky and uses him to break the floor. We'll go back to the left, and we already know it. Right there is the dash. Dedew now in possession of dash, so there will be no disadvantage from that. Also, getting the timed level up will allow him to check the underwater vault. However, there's nothing in there for today, just a bit of experience. Oh, Evo having a bit of problems through the crushers. Don't dash now, that would kill you. Yes, indeed, waits out the spinner cycle to not get damage there. Nicely done. And with this, both of our runners now kinda Evo pushing for this minor objective of the Swamp Teleporter. We will need that 2 more times throughout the seed to save time once we actually go to Ginso, once for the final escape. So always nice to unlock that. Meanwhile, Dedew, on the other hand, taking the more direct way to the actual main objectives here, because there is a lower swamp entry and he has the option to go there. Yes, will be indeed going here, going through swamp drain, lower swamp entry, and can now go to the right. And maybe it's Stormtree, and there's Forlorn Teleporter. That's massive. Evo is gonna take the upper road. Oh, this could be huge.
That is incredibly important. The Dedew's time to get to that Gumon water vein has just been halved or more, the time of getting down to that lower swamp entry. What I've been noticing, is Evo's been opting to check a lot of things. Opted to head to Grove Main and then upper around and get to the outer swamp loop. That did give Evo the swamp teleporter that we'll use later, so that's a little bit of nice knowledge there. But yes, Evo, because of that upper route, I don't believe we'll get that Forlorn teleport. This actually could be huge. A big key moment of this race right here.
Yes, depending on where left side access is in the seed, this could be straight up race deciding, right? If all our left side access, both all the teleporters, both Bash and Stomp, are locked behind that border, never mind. Here I was getting all excited, but our runner's syncing up at the Storm Tree, and what does the Storm Tree have? It does have Stomp. Is this even randomized? Well, this sure isn't, but this gives left side access to both of our runners.
Not only that, double jump was right next to it. It turns out this game's Grotto Vault in the last seed was the Stomp It tree, giving us 2 skills right back to back. Oh my goodness, they must be racing through like all the minds and decisions that both runners are having to make. But yes, with that, Forlorn Teleporter Dedew is able to just beeline straight into here and start looking for the water vein. Again, we'll have to see, like, Evo's continuing to be thorough, which I like. If he's thorough in the right way, could get that Forlorn Teleporter as well, but is opting to quickly do some rechecks here. Oh, there we go. Gets the Gumon seal. He remembered. Dedew still doesn't have the knowledge of where the Gumon seal is, though. But he's like, well, he's saying, I don't really need that. Just skipping that dungeon key. We don't. That's not necessary. Is finding charge as efficiency in here and a 3rd attack upgrade. Oh my goodness. Dedew's Forlorn is becoming very powerful.
Yes, indeed, and charge dash efficiency, especially on this kind of energy situation, right? Between 4 and 6 energy, well, access to 1 Storm Cancel, but only that means that you will be able to just throw away as much of that energy on going fast as he wants to, and that will become very apparent once we get into the later stages of the game, which actually have a lot of horizontal traversal. Now, Backlords, his save from earlier, will probably open up the save anywhere. Yes, indeed. Now charge dashing into the door, which triggers a cutscene putting Dedew on the other side of the door. Quick load, and there we are. There are 3 more checks in Forlorn, and with Stomp and the other skill set, we can get all 3 of them. Dedew is gonna get his water vein very soon.
Yeah, this became a potentially evil seed that just gifted us a vanilla Stomp right there, so there was no problems here. Dedew's going to opt to do the Wind Escape first. I'd love to see it here. That'd be so good. Meanwhile, Evo is pursuing trees that we still have yet to see. We got the Grenade Tree, which didn't have anything for us, but is again making sure that to finish up all those trees. And Evo can also now access right the left side of the map, that he can stomp that peg, and then using some particular close charge jumps can get through it there. Oh my god, there it is.
Oh my god, water vein on Wind Restore. That's amazing. Finally, we've gotten it. We've gotten the joyous location for our water vein. Now, the one interesting thing, alright, that you will not be spending 1.5 minutes for a grenade clue, which would have been an option here, since grenade jumps are quite a bit of new, but with already having those storm cans, it's that charge dash efficiency that would have been surely a questionable play to actually grab the grenade just for the potential of going even faster. So Will Alt are out instead, and now has the option to go to all of his right side trees, and then afterwards go to left side. Decides, oh, and I don't have the Swamp Teleporter next that could be on the way to Grenade Tree, so we're going to the Grenade Tree first, since we can't speed it up. Never mind, are we going back? Thinking on the map menu a bit, then deciding to actually go back. Might want to go into Ginzo first. I can't see his ability situation. I don't know.
I don't think he has any. I think that's why he made that pause decision. I don't think he has a single ability cell currently, so didn't have one to skip the cutscene. So was wanted to play it cautious and saying just go for the Ginzo tree, which is definitely very. It's got a lot of pickups for sure. It's very dense. I'd like to see that play from him. Also, I'd like to see how far Dedew opts to go. We quote unquote have that left side access. You're seeing that on the left side of the screen. Evo is doing the way that we'll get into left side here, stomping the peg and using some very nice charge jumps on these spikes here that you'll see in a second. It might opt to do a zombie, or yes, it's going to opt to zombie to make this a little easier. It's not the easiest left side access in the world, and so I could definitely say, definitely think, some people would be up to, maybe I'd like another skill to make this a little easier, but Evo makes it look really, really nice. Only used 1 zombie to get through, and now can continue up and see where he goes from there.
Yes, indeed, and find Bash on the Birdstorm cell. Oh my god, that is absolutely huge. We already know, on the other hand, now, since Bash was here left side, that means another left side teleporter will probably come into play at one point for for our runners here, because otherwise, well, you can't really get to left side in standard logic without a bash or a left side teleporter, and I don't think it's going to be the one. And grenade is in Ginso for the Dew. That will give him 3 out of 3. We have access to grenade jumps. The Steed just keeps on giving more and more fast checks. Also, I think there is no way that Evo will skip that at the end of the seed once he goes to Ginso, because this check costs literally 0 time or maybe a second, because you can just charge flame the plant on the way up. That's not a particular skipping pickup, so I hope we're gonna see 2 of those. But for now, that means that the Dew will have the speed lead here, because grenade jumps just are that fast of a traversal method, even though Evo has the bash option to go wherever he pleases.
Yeah, these skills have just been turning up right here for our runners, just so nice. The only thing that has been slightly difficult is, again, the teleporters have been a little bit tricky to find. And again, you're seeing this from Evo. Evo is having to do this trek downward into Forlorn Ruins, and we'll have to go all the way through to get to the Wind Escape. This is all things that Dedew is not going to have to do, so that's a big time save. We'll have to see how far potentially ahead Dedew might get because of this. And Dedew's opting to also just be done with Ginzo Tree after the Bash Tree, and so now he's going to get that Grenade Tree and then make his way into the left side.
Yes, indeed. Look at how full those skill wheels are, and they might just get even fuller after all. Going through that Stormless area, if you do Stormless, might even be faster, but on the other hand, you could totally opt for a kill plane skip, in which case we might see a skill differential with Bash not coming to play. All exciting things for later, but what's happening now is that Evo is heading into Fallout and has to do the entire dungeon from start to finish, because he didn't find the teleporter. Meanwhile, Dedew barely making the laser cycle, very nice. Can now rocket jump up here, puts down the save anywhere, will skip the grenade tree cutscene, getting another ability with that. Dedew on his next tree, that is going to be tree number 7 already. So tying up on trees on that end, both of our runners having 7 trees now. But remember, Dedew already has the water and the Ginso tree, and the Ginso tree takes a lot more time to do than the glide tree, the feather that Evo already did. So I would say Dedew is kind of having a minor lead here, but everything can still change at any point here.
Yeah, it's just gonna come down to, again, we have right now grenade jumps on the right and bash like dash and Stompcast on the left. Which one is going to come out rain on top? And again, yeah, so Dedew could do that kill plane skip and just say bash is not really necessary for Dedew to complete the seed. We'll just have to just wait and see how skilled he is to get through this valley entry that is definitely not easy in the slightest. There's some very, very minute spike ledges, and when he takes damage, or he kind of like jumps back a little bit and kind of messes up with your positioning. So that's always a kind of the annoying thing of doing this, but is just making quick work of this movement so far. Is both runners, honestly. Like, it's just been so nice. No mistakes, like execution wise at all.
Yes, indeed. And let's put our eyes on the right, because the Dew finds the micro ledge in less than a second.
What?
Amazing. Just finds the micro ledge on the left wall, jumps straight up, setting up for grenade jump, kill plane skip. Does not get it first try. The angle is very particular here. Will need a Patera jump from the ground here. Yes, Kuro swooping down. Ori falling into the pit. That's where we wanna go. That means no bash for the Dew, but it does mean a lot of swag and some time save as he's going up. Couldn't do Stormless with the skill set anyway. Gets now his 2 extra consolation checks here at the bottom. Be careful not to die. Dang would respawn the kill plane here, but alright, we are very much good to go. And for those of you who have seen the intro, Muffin just there in chat being extremely happy, applauding the seed as the Dew is getting up and gets a storm tree at the same his feather tree at the same time as Evo is starting that fallen escape and gets his water rain on the last possible check.
That was so nice from Dedew's side, but also very scary. Again, yeah, taking a death there is not one you like to see, and Dedew made no backup, so who knows where the last possible backup save for him could have been. Evo also had to another quick time save for Dedew over Evo is that Evo checked the stomped pickups before the escape, so a little bit of more edge there for Dedew. As again, we have 8 trees for Dedew, 7 for Evo, so 1 tree lead. We're also we've kind of been neglecting to inform everyone about the Sunstone. There is, where is it? Nobody knows. We'll have to wait for the 9th tree, I guess, to figure out where that is.
Yeah, and so far our runners have been have a time difference I would call about 1 Ginso tree, so that is less than 2 minutes on this kind of a skill set. Ginso tree being a classic thing to be done in like 1:50 or something similar. Even still being very thorough on his play going to trees here. So with Dedew skipping a lot more pickups than him, that will set him back a bit later, unless Sunstone just happens to be on his way. Alright, never mind. We are now are we starting to skip more? Yes, we are. Evo, you have climbed C jump. You can just break the ceiling. Alright, remembers that he can do that. Going for the all skills muscle memory there, I can definitely say that has never happened to anyone before. And the Sunstone is in Grove, so there will be no problem getting that for either of our runners. Well, as long as Evo does his Ginso first to actually find grenade, because well, the Sunstone can be grenade locked at this point in time, since Grove has how many? I forgot, like 2 or 3 grenade lock pickup. But yeah, Dedew now rushing into Misty can skip everything here except for the 2-3 mandatory pickups, the mandatory keystones on the way, showing off some amazing grenade jumps, not missing them either. Now onto the wall, angling up, here we go, and now we go all the way to the left of Misty. Keystone 1 reached. On the way back now, just making short work of Misty, not a problem. This is called the glide tutorial. We don't only have glide, we have all of the good skills, and look at that charge dash efficiency, just destroying the entire zone. Can't even grenade jump this fast at this point. This is amazing to watch.
Glide tutorial? I thought this area was the grenade jump tutorial. What? I guess I've been reading that wrong. Oh man, it's been so nice to watch. And yeah, so that Grove Sunstone is real nice. It could just be on the way to Horror. We could just, you know, dip up in Horror Fields, get the Sunstone, and then put it into the mountain, and get our way to that final dungeon. So that could be very nice. 10 trees now. Dedew is on 10. Evo has entered Ginso tree. This is actually kind of an interesting part of the race. We have to wait and see. Evo with how thorough he's being, I'd like him to say he probably will check this plant here and get his grenade. So no disparity there. Yep, there you go. So we'll be able to get all the lock pickups, even the butter cell potentially, which is quote-unquote stomp lock, but you could also do a bash lure. They can get that pretty easily as well. So Sunstone again is proving no problems. Just have to wait and see where it is.
Yeah, and Evo doing Ginso before Misty here, because he doesn't have the Sunstone clue. That means he will need to check everything on the way to the tree. Oh, angles his bash the exact wrong way, accidentally throws 1 shot into the ceiling. Those are the kinds of minor mistakes that really start to matter at this point, with Dedew already having 10 trees and already being on his Sunstone search. This is the kind of stuff you actually cannot afford anymore. So far, Dedew going for the more aggressive play. I love this, going in the direction of Horror first. If Sunstone is here in Horror Fields on any of the 1, 2, 3, 4 checks, there will be no more stopping him at all. Let's see if this pays off, or if Sunstone is maybe at one of the more horrible locations of the prime. Now stomping down the rock. That's all 4 checks open up. Evo on the left side, circling the Sunstone Grove, probably pretty happy that he found his grenade at this point, but what he doesn't know is that Dedew had the fall-on teleporter and the Sunstone right here in Horror Fields. Amazing, and this is why you go to objectives first, paying off beautifully for Dedew. Dedew entering Horror Fields. Evo still has to do an entire tree. This is Dedew's race to lose.
Yeah, that's like the quickest time we've ever had the Sunstone. Found it, and then we used it just right there. It was really, really nice, that decision and kind of routing. He made a backup save at that conjunction of the Horrorfield's health cell. And it's basically saying, okay, if it's not here, I have the backup ready, so I'll waste as minimal time as possible to maybe head back through Spider Track. But no, it was right there. And Dedew is all done. Dedew is definitely in the lead. Finally gets Door Warp, our one frame trick to get through. And all is left is one escape from winning out game 2 and bringing us to a 1-1. Without Bash, might be not as different as not as similar as Evo's escape. Might be a little easier, especially maybe in the lantern room. Might have to do a grenade jump here or there, but we've already seen how comfortable Dedew is with the grenade jump, so I'd see no problem there. Eyes on the right side. Let's see how he does this.
Yes, and off to a good start. Almost stomps into the lava, but catches himself just in time. Alright, now the lava pull up. This is where the grenade jumping starts and gets the first one without a problem. Now needs to get through the elemental room, and while you can do this with a grenade jump, you don't have to. Takes a bit too much damage on the fire, but luckily our water is clean, so as long as the fishes don't start looking out for blood again, everything is fine here. The fishes are there, they can't bite him, but now there is one more thing to do. Don't spawn Kuro, alright, very nice, and don't get hit by 2 Sigma rocks in a row. As long as he can just get up here, alright, it's rocks behaving very nicely, setting up for the final grenade jump. Misses one grenade, but gets it on the second try. Ori is walking, and GG, the dude tying it up at 1-1 here.
I actually think what happened in that element room, he tried to bash off that projectile and was said, oh, I have like pretty much every skill, but I do not have the one that bashes things. But that was no problem. We have that health regen that kept Dedew alive, and again, that clean water made it so nice. And yeah, we've brought this now to a 1-1. We need a third game, Sam, to see who will take this matchup.
Yes, and at this point, I honestly can't tell you who would win a third game, and we are not even gonna find out today because they have decided to schedule their third match if necessary at the end of the week. And well, we now know it is indeed necessary. Meanwhile, GG Dedew 34-20-97 is his official race time. With that, he takes the official lead, and Evo pausing for a moment there, probably saw that just now, but now we are already in Horu on his side too, setting up for the doorboard. Let's see, does he get it first try again? Of course he does, not a problem at all. Now up to the warmth escape, and with this there's just one escape more to watch for us on this evening.
Yep, might be a little bit of a different one. We do have Bash. Maybe we won't see grenade jumps on that one, but it'll be a nice one. No problems here. Pretty much have everything on that skill well, except for wall jump and wind. Who knows where those were? Actually, we know where wall jump was. Wall jump was the Horu R1 energy cell. So there was all wall interaction. The other one, at least.
Yes, indeed, it was an R1. Well, at this point, it could have been anywhere, right? All the other skills freely accessible on the map. But let's see how Evo is doing in that final escape. So far, it hasn't been a problem at all for him. Hasn't taken any damage and can basically play this as an all skills escape with the added comfort of not having to do that. Oh, that's a right bash, but okay, does bash left afterwards, remembers that he can't do that, and now sets up for the final grenade jump. And with this, Ori walking again. GG to you too, Evo. That was an extremely close race, and I really wanna see the difference in forlorn times right now.
Yeah, it could be that the forlorn teleporter was the thing that caused it, but I mean, as well, Dedew kind of skipped a good few areas. Didn't really do the outer swamp loop, didn't really do the Grove main, so I wouldn't want to say it was purely just that nice forlorn TP find. Just the ways that Dedew is aggressively checking, additionally going straight for the horror fields check to say, oh, there's my sunstone. It was very nicely done, and it looked good too. And there you go, Evo is also now done. 36-40-30, only about a 2-minute and 20-second difference. Was really close, and both runners gotta be feeling good, but also gotta be feeling nerves are going crazy, as we now have a third game potentially to be scheduled later on.
Yes, and the only thing we do know is that that match is not gonna be between 4 and 6 p.m. on Saturday because, well, we do have quite a few other games already scheduled for the weekend, including an entire best of 3, isn't that right, Clean?
Yeah, that's right. It's going to be my best of 3 entirety with J-Mall up in the upper brackets. That'll be starting again at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard. We also have an additional race on Saturday. It is going to be Sirius versus Tritonite, the second game where Sirius is ahead 1-0 over Tritonite. And the second game will be also on SpeedGaming 3 at 12 p.m. Eastern. And stay tuned as well. We also have Zem. You have you versus Guard to be scheduled at some point in the future as well. So that's another best of 3 to look forward to, isn't it?
Yes, indeed. We will be having that match too probably next week on Tuesday, but as a lot of things that needs to be scheduled, and it looks like we are going to get our runners for an interview after we give them a bit of time to wind down, because this kind of series is very stressful, and we've seen the kind of stuff a red seat like this takes out of our runners, the kind of movement you have to do to compete on this level, all those extremely quick chains of charge dashes, those grenade jumps, all of that stuff is quite exhausting, so let's give them a bit of time here.
Yeah, definitely. The nerves and execution can definitely like showcase, but I barely saw it at all in both of these races, honestly. They made it look like they were just kind of autopilot, and nothing was really too crazy there. It just looked so good, so nice, pretty much. And we'll have to see what they opt to do as well for the third game, because as you saw between games 1 and 2, we had a different differences in the variation of the seed, went from normal to wall start. We'll have to see maybe what they opt to do for the final race. I know Dedew has done a race of 2 with shards on, so that might be a potential here. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I believe we'll get joined by, even though we're not done with the series yet, we might get joined by both of our runners here just for a quick interview to get their questions on these first 2 games.
Yeah, that will be happening soon. And just to a quick throwback on to the importance of that fall-on teleporter during the sea, we had about a minute difference in both fall-on and valley. So 2 minutes difference total, and our runners were 2 minutes and 20 seconds apart. So this is just the kind of stuff that can help me incredibly close race otherwise, and even with this. But it looks like both of our runners are actually on deck. So let's bring both of them in for the interview. GG to both of you, winning 1 game each here.
GG. It's it almost feels like a bait because we're not going for our third until later.
Best of 1 now.
Yep, it's pretty much just another best of 1 between you two. It's man, I cannot wait. I saw some amazing stuff in both of the races here, and it's gonna be so hype. I can't wait.
Yeah, but let's talk a bit about the seed you two just played. So, what happened in Fall On? And we have seen the Gumonseer being underwater in Glide World, which you skipped, did you? So, not knowing that. But then the Fall On TP on the lower swamp entry route. Did you, when you found that, just how happy were you with your routing there and getting that teleporter?
Yeah, I was very happy because, yeah, I wouldn't want to look for the Gumonseer. But I guess if it wasn't Glide Vault, it wouldn't have been too bad, especially since the clue for Gumonseer was on 3-6. So it wouldn't have taken too long to get it, but it's especially the way to get down to Fall On that takes a bit of time. So I guess finding it was really nice. I was really happy when I found it. But yeah, TPs can be pretty much everywhere. It's like skills you can kind of know, like trying to follow the logic and stuff, but like TPs you don't know.
Indeed, and it did come in quite handy here. On the other hand, Evo, I want to ask you, you were playing that early and also mid-game very through all. What was kinda your trigger to start actually go moding the seed and stop checking things?
I think it was when I finally did I think it was my 6th tree to get all my clues, or at least all the clues that I could. and I wanted to get enough points so that I could zombie up into Valley, because otherwise it would have been pretty rough trying. So when I had about 4 or 5 points, that was basically when I decided I have enough to just zoom here and get every tree and hopefully finish the game. So that was kind of the point where I decided now it's time.
Yeah, that's definitely a good amount of thinking there. Yeah, I guess it looks like we did turn out that the teleporter to the Forlorn Ruins is better than the actual key that gets there. Because with that upper route doing the outer swamp, could not get to that teleporter. Sadly, for the second game. I guess taking it back as well to the first game. I know we already went through a whole nother seed, so it's like, what even happened in the first seed? I guess I want to talk about overall routing from Evo side to kind of, you had the potential to do the lower grotto entry with Bash, but decided I'm just going to kind of go through the main area of Death Gauntlet to do a good thorough check of grotto. So kind of what was your mindset by doing that to get all those nice grenade and double jump skills down there?
Honestly, I'm having trouble remembering exactly what happened in that first seed, exactly how I routed. I just remembered, I want to say Death Gauntlet was always kind of on my mind, because if I remember right, there was a forced keystone in the Blackroot pit, and then there was also an energy cell on Raziel, though, right before the boulder chase. And knowing both of those, it was like, okay, there's an energy here, so Death Gauntlet is looking like it's very likely on the table, which I'm not sure it mattered too much, because I think we got Grotto Teleporter at some point anyway, but that's kind of beside the point. But my mind was, I'm probably going to get 4 energy here eventually, so that was kind of my thought behind Death Gauntlet, is just an eventuality at this point.
Yeah, makes sense. I guess another additional question is like, so doing these two kind of C's back to back, you kind of get more knowledge and you get more awareness. I guess for Dedew's side, in the first game, you had a little bit of keystone troubling. So was your essentially mindset saying be more paying attention to those keystone counts so you don't have to worry about potential dupes later on the seed that might cost time? How is that doing you in the seed?
Yeah, I noticed halfway up Ginzo that I didn't have enough keystones.
Right.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and place my save now instead of going to all the way to the door. I should have paid more attention to it, but like, I don't think it was really a bad call, because I didn't have like any other tree to go at that point. Or like, I was looking for a Gomod skill anyway, so Ginzo was the right place to go, I guess. Too bad I didn't have enough keystones.
Yeah, definitely makes sense, and I think the second game paid up for it. You guys had so many keystones in that second game. It was like, well, okay, you had your one game to pay attention to them, and now just here's a million. So that was pretty nice to see.
Yeah, and I have one more question to kind of close this interview out for today for both of you. Let's start with you, Dedue, since you won the last of the 2 matches. So going in, we're basically gonna be playing a best of 1. That game 3 is gonna decide everything. Do you have any thoughts, any feeling, and maybe any do you feel like you're just gonna play the same as you're gonna play the first 2 seeds, or are we gonna see some stuff shaken up a bit?
I'm probably gonna play the same way I played those 2 seeds, especially the second one I really liked. The second one, there were a few checks that I forgot, or areas that I checked and that I shouldn't have. On the second one, it was pretty good, I think. So yeah, I'm probably gonna like keep playing this way. Slightly aggressive, but like not too much.
Yeah, definitely worked out for you this seed well. And what about you, Evo? Any thoughts for you on the upcoming best of 1?
At least I'll go into the third race without the nerves, because that was a kind of a big thing here. I don't think it affected me too much, but going into the second race, my nerves were already very high just from the first. So having kind of a clean slate as far as that. Just fresh mind going in will be pretty nice.
Yeah,
Definitely a thing.
I can't wait. And maybe we could also see a little bit of a change on the variation of the seed as well. We saw a switch from standard to wall start, so maybe some more spiciness is on the table. But again, we'll just have to wait and see when that next matchup goes. Good luck to both of you, and GG again on these first two games. It was really nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think with that, that's basically it for today. As mentioned, Game 3 will be played on the weekend. Same as the series between Cleaver and Jamal, the entire best of 3 gonna be played on the weekend. And Game 2 of Series versus Tritonite series currently leading with a 1-0 on that series. All of that gonna happen on the various SpeedGaming channels over the course of the weekend. I wanna thank Fox for restreaming both of these races back to back, as well as Tukel and person who jumped in basically last minute to help us with tracking, and of course thanks to you, Clean, for doing commentary with me.
Yeah, that was an excellent time. Glad I got to be here with you, Zem, for this one. And again, thank you for everyone for SpeedGaming, for all the support, again, for helping us host this tournament. So far, it's been so much fun, and we've got a lot of tourney left to go for now. This will be us signing off, and tune back later again that Saturday for all those games, and we'll see you guys then. Take care.